And as you breathe in, feel that you are receiving all the gifts of the mother. So many gifts, so many that you become overflowing with her grace. And as you breathe out, you're sharing that grace with all others, everyone around you, everyone in close proximity to you, people who, and other living beings at a distance who you may never even meet in your life, but you're still offering the grace of the mother out to every living being everywhere, no matter how close or far they are to you, how familiar or how unfamiliar. And so just taking a few more moments like that, breathing in and breathing out, allowing the heart to be clear, allowing the mind to be a bit emptier perhaps than it was during today. And then giving yourself the opportunity to set an intention for this evening. Maybe there's something in your life that you would like guidance from the mother, or perhaps you just wish to go deeper into your own devotion, whatever it is for you. Allow that intention to come forward. Repeat it to yourself silently 3 times, allowing each word to have great meaning. And then gently fluttering the eyes open, and I will turn it over to Jyoti Ma.
Devi Ma, welcome to our 8th night of Navratri. And so this evening we'll begin with Homa with Devi, followed by meditation and Satsang with Swaminiji. At 8 o'clock, we have Nina Rao, who's going to be here for kirtan. So that's going to be another fantastic hour. And at 9 p.m., Durga Mayi Ma will be back talking more about his Tri-Devi. And we'll have a closing prayer with Swaminiji. We had to reschedule our live discussion with Swaminiji the other day. I'm happy to say that we'll be holding that discussion tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that time works for you, 10:30 a.m. Standard Eastern Time, please join us. If not, Sunday evening, we'll be sharing with you the live discussion. So now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Devi. Devi has been in the blissful presence of spiritual masters for most of her life. As a child, Devi spent her formative years at the feet of Sri Brahmananda Saraswati at Ananda Ashram in upstate New York. And when her guru took Mahasamadhi in the early 90s, she was embraced by the arms of Sri Mata Anandanandamayi Devi, also known as Amma, and became a devotee. With over 20 years' experience as a kirtan leader, she has nourished and honed a passion for mantra, sacred text, and the performance of pujas and homas for the upliftment of all beings. Despite Devi's busy schedule, she makes time to be the music director for a local Santana Dharma class for children and the music coordinator for various satsangs in New Jersey. Devi, thank you again so much for offering Homa.
Thank you, Jyoti Ma, for your skillful magic and organization and just general graciousness and gracefulness. You know, it's been a pleasure these past couple days getting to know you better just virtually, and I look forward to getting to know you better as the years go on. And of course, Swaminiji, thank you so much for hosting and for all your plans that just benefit the community incredibly. It just pays such dividends, you know. Never think kindness is wasted, because look at what seeds it sows. It touches all of you. So with that pious statement, we'll get started with the Homa and pranams to everybody who is here today. And just a quick word about the mantras that we've been using with the Homas and what their purpose is, rather than go over them each individually. The whole purpose of it is to bring us back in balance with nature. Because if we become, as human beings, become in balance with nature, nature is able to be back in balance. When one decides to go against the general laws of nature, you see the havoc it wreaks just within global warming on its own. And what Homa does is it helps to rebalance your circadian rhythms so you end up rising and sleeping with nature. You also get a finer feel for what is needed in your actions. So instead of, oh, I dropped that piece of paper on the floor, I'll just leave it. Like you'll actually go to pick it up because you understand the possible consequences that could have down the line. And I know that's a small thing, but imagine that small thing, and then it goes to bigger proportions. Starts small and then gets bigger. Then you start being mindful of what you buy, what the containers are, so on and so forth. So that is the whole purpose of this. And this was actually a ritual that was done by every household. So it also helped to purify and maintain the natural balance. So that is at least for me, a very strong reason why I like to share this. So you can see and experience the purifying nature of the home. So after that babble, thank you for going mentally offloading with me. And with your permission, we'll begin. Om Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om Vyayamo Navratri Snigdhatam Vilokanim Mandasmita Shrimukhi Vatsalyamritavashani Samadharam Sankirtanalapani Sukhamangi Madhusikta Suktim Amritatmikamiswari Om Amarteshwari Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Dev Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Gananam Ganapati Gum Kavim Kavinam Pamasravastabham Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatahana Shyanvanuti Dasadanam Om Shri Ganapataye Namaha. Om Agnaye Swaha Agnaye Dhamma Prajapataye Dhamma. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsavituvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Swaha Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsavituvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Swaha Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsavituvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Vandanam Mrityurmukshinamrita. Om Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Vandanam Mrityurmukshinamrita. Om Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Vandanam Mrityurmukshinamrita. Om Swaha. Om Swaha Agnaye Dhamma Bhuva Swaha Vayave Dhamma Swaha Suryaya Dhamma Bhurbhuva Swaha Prajapataye Dhamma. Om Devi Mahagauri Swaha. 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 Indrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktinam Ishwari Yapujitamaya Devi Paripurnam Dadastute. Om Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. This concludes the night 8 Homa for our beloved Durga Mayi. I'll hand it back over to Jyoti. Namah Shivaya.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Devi. What a beautiful home again. So amazing to be able to have that experience with you. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move into meditation satsang with Swaminiji, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Swaminiji. For those of you who have taken classes with her or have been with us throughout the evenings of Navratri, you're probably very familiar with Swaminiji, but for those of you who are not, I just want to make sure that you know about this amazing facilitator that we have here tonight, this Navratri is a gift from her and her idea. So it's such a wonderful reflection of who she is, the gift of constantly giving and making sure that everyone is feeling very welcome and loved. So Swami Shravananda Saraswati Ji is the founder and the primary spiritual teacher of Kula Kamala Foundation and Yoga Ashram, located in Pennsylvania in the US. Swaminiji is also currently serving as the interim chaplain at the Multi-Faith Center at Albright College in Reading, Pennsylvania. She began offering ministry within her community about 13 years ago. Her path to ministry was activated and empowered by her growing understanding of the universal teachings of Tantra, yoga, and also her own path of healing. And the basis of her practice was, and it is, to explore faith and what it means to be human and to be spiritual, to suffer and to heal. And with thousands of hours in advanced study in spirituality, yoga psychology, positive psychology, and Vedic counseling, Swaminiji has been honored to serve a diverse array of individuals and communities. Some of Swaminiji's early work include her authoring of 2 hospital-based yoga therapy programs. More recently, Swamiji authored a mindfulness program, I Am Mindful for Children. An educator, a leader, and a spiritual figure, Swaminiji has provided spiritual programming at 5 colleges and universities, and she has taught at numerous workshops and conferences. She holds a PhD in anthropology and is the author of several books of poetry, most recently 30 Days. Swaminiji took her vows on the banks of the Holy Mother Ganga River on November 5th, 2019. She teaches and promotes a variety of amazing, beautiful topics and very, very important values for all of us to learn from, such as nonviolence, human rights and values, in combination with yoga, tantra, goddess wisdom, Ayurveda, and so much more. And you can learn about Swamiji at kulakamalafoundation.org. Thank you so much, Swaminiji.
Thank you so much, Jyoti Ma. Such a beautiful introduction. My heart is so humbled. the work that I do is only empowered because of the work that you do, and the work that Devi does, and the work that every single one of you does. We work together, and that's the way that we bring forward a world that is more meaningful for all of us, is when we come together and are not afraid to do the necessary work to realize that better world. And so tonight we gather in honor again of the mother. And it crossed my mind a little while ago, a conversation that I had with somebody years ago. One of the first times that I offered a Navratri, it had to be about maybe 12 or 13 years ago, that I offered an entire program, 9 nights of chanting and yoga and ritual. And I guess it was around the 7th or 8th night. And a student who had been coming came up and said, I know that there's like so much information and there's so much to do, but like, doesn't it ever get old? Doesn't, I mean, like, we've been doing this now for 7 or 8 nights. Like when do we get a break? And I guess I giggled, maybe, I don't know. But basically my answer to her was, well, you could have a break whenever you want one. However, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you want in this life? And if what you want to realize in this life is peace in your heart and mind, health and wellness in your approach to living, relationships that have meaning, realization of one's own dharma, then you best be with her every day. Because if you're not with her, you're not with her. Period. It's like, if you're not thinking of her, devoting your actions to her, devoting a prayer to her, having an intention to be a reflection of her grace, then what are you reflecting? And that's a very important question that each and every one of us as devotees, whether it's of the mother or the father, no matter what name it is that we use, it's a very important question that we have to ask ourselves. Is every Sunday enough? Is every Saturday enough? Is twice a week enough? 3 times a week enough? Or does it have to be consistent? Because and I love this old, like, as an anthropologist, and at one point in time I was veering toward primatology. I love nature. And I've always been struck by the idea that where there is a space, nature creates a niche, right? So if there's a space available, something's going to move in. So for us as spiritual practitioners, we want to be very mindful about that, because there is either what is real or there is what is not real. And I'm sorry to say, but what is not real takes up a whole lot more mental space than what is real. What is not real injures the heart deeply, or so we think. What is not real steals our hope, our dreams, and our intentions from us. So the simple answer to that student was, every day, many times every day. And if you're getting bored, if you're getting, do we get a break yet? Then what you need to ask yourself is, why is my ego flaring up? What does my ego want? Does it want to run down to Dunkin' Donuts and get a donut? Does it want to, stop and do something that it likes doing? What's up with my ego? What's happening here? And then have a conversation with yourself and say something along the lines of, and I don't know, in meditation, this works for me. I will talk to myself silently, which probably looks a little strange, but I'll say to my ego, now is really not the time. But I promise that if you let me be in this moment, I will listen to you in another. And it usually works. It usually works. If that doesn't work, then I turn the ego around a little bit. And I say, I understand that you wish to be important. So I'm going to ask you to be important, to be a good teacher to me, to teach me how to stay in stillness. Please teach me how to be silent. Please teach me how to be present in this moment without wanting to go someplace else. Please be the greatest teacher and teach me that. So let's sit up nice and tall and close the eyes. And breathing in and breathing out, placing the right hand on the heart and left hand on the belly, and just feel that magnificent sacred breath moving in and out of the body. And recognize that the breath is a gift. It is a gift on all levels of being. It is the gift of life itself. It is the delivery vehicle for prana. It is the gift of presence and awareness. It is the gift of energy, vitality, enthusiasm, excitement, passion. The breath is the gift of resolve, of patience, strength, courage, discipline. The breath is the gift of practice. The breath is the gift of curiosity and creativity. The breath carries in it all these gifts and so much more. We breathe our way through every moment in this life, and therefore, every breath is a gift. And so take a few breaths in silence. Visualize yourself in your mind's eye, bowing down at the lotus feet of the mother. In whatever form you are taken by, the form of Durga, Shailaputri, Brahmacharini, Kalaratri, Katyayani, Mahagauri, Lakshmi, Saraswati, any of them, all of them. And as you bow down at the lotus feet of the mother, tell her, pranams, Mataji, pranams. My heart belongs to you and you alone. And drawing the hands together in front of the heart, and we'll lift our voices in one Om. Take a breath in. Om. And bowing the head to the heart and acknowledging all that is. And then draw the face to center. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I can't believe it's the 8th night already. It goes by so quick, you know. Maybe that's why we practice it at least twice a year. There's actually a Navratri every season, for every season. But 2 of them are primary, spring and fall. And then the summer and winter are a bit quieter. I suppose not so many people practice those in such a public way. But tonight we come into the 8th night, and it is the night of Mahagauri. This is Mahagauri right next to me, the lovely goddess in white. And she is in white with gold trim on her sari, a gold crown. And she is so regal, so amazing. She is a little different than the other goddesses, is she not? She's a little different, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to just discover what it is about her what she signifies, where we are in this journey of this great battle between the divine mother and these demons who are wreaking havoc on earth and in our hearts, and where in the line of circumstances does Mahagauri fall? What is her purpose, or her reason for being there? And so we'll start off with talking about her name. So Maha means great. It can also mean extreme or a lot. It is a lot. So it's something that's very revered, very enormously respected, very deeply adored. And Gauri means fair or white. And so her name, in one aspect, is translated as either the great white one, the great fair one, the extremely white one, or the extremely fair one. And so as you can see, I mean, her vehicle, the bull, is white. She's wearing white. Her skin is very, very, very bright. She's surrounded by gold. So she certainly is extremely bright, white, or fair. Her name also indicates that she's the daughter of Giri. So Gauri is the daughter of Giri. And she is the daughter of the mountain, because Giri is another word for mountain. And if you think back to one of the earlier nights, we talked about Shailaputri's name and about Parvati's name and about how we keep coming back to the name on some level, meaning daughter of the mountain, daughter of the mountain, the mountain's daughter. And so again, Parvati is born into the family of King Himavan and his wife Meena at their request, and at the request of devotees who would like her to soothe Shiva's grief over the loss of his beloved Sati, of which Parvati is an incarnation. And so she is born into the home of the Mountain King as his daughter. And obviously, this is a very important role, or a very important acknowledgement, because many of the names of her avatars also have this meaning to them. It also tells us that she's resplendent. She is resplendent. She is so beautiful, so beautiful. And the way that she shines with effulgence, it cleans everything up that it touches, including us. So when her light is shining brightly and we're glowing in that, where we're basking in that glow, we're being cleaned up from the inside out and from the outside in. So she's very healing. And not similar to Kalaratri, who was ferocious, Mahagauri is calm and compassionate. She's very calm. She has no weapons in her hands. She's, again, depicted in the white clothes and mounted on the white bull here. Sometimes she's seen on a white elephant as well. That's less often, though. But the elephant and the bull symbolize penance and perseverance. So they symbolize penance, the need to resolve what needs resolving, and perseverance. And for me, the moment that the word perseverance comes in, and it comes into play with many of the goddesses, it means that you're not gonna see a resolution now, that you need to persevere through the unwinding. You need to persevere through the acknowledgement, the discovery, the acknowledgement, and the change that brings about the resolution itself. And that takes time. So we need to have this ability to persevere. But there's a really important quality with perseverance. Sometimes, and I don't know, maybe someone here has had this experience in life where, you know, you are working at a job that you don't particularly care for, but you're not too far from retirement, maybe 10 years. And so you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to stay here where I hate it. And I'm going to say how much I hate it. And I'm going to feel how much I hate it. And I'm going to let it even make me sick. I'm going to persevere until I get that retirement. That's not the kind of perseverance we're talking about. When we're talking about Mahagauri, we're talking about a perseverance that is based in peace, a perseverance that is based in faith, and a perseverance that has nothing whatsoever to do with the outcome. It's, as the beautiful poet Rumi said, to wait and to simply have faith in the waiting. Something will happen. It always does. And if we are taking care of this moment and the next moment and the next moment as they arrive, then whatever is awaiting us or whatever comes about in the future, we will take care of that moment too. And it becomes easier to take care of when penance and perseverance are married to peace, the 3 P's: penance, perseverance, and peace. And it's also, believed by devotees that Mahagauri, not only is she gifted with peace, intelligence, and also ambition, the ambition to persevere in this moment, but she also gifts those to her devotees. So if you come into a significant sadhana, a significant practice of her devotion, then those are the gifts that you will ultimately receive: peace, intelligence, and a healthy ambition. And so what is ambition? When we think of ambition, we typically think about planning now for later. Right? We typically think about planning now for later. But ambition is really nothing more than attention. And so you can have attention on some future day that may never arrive, or that may be completely different than what you had anticipated it would be. Or you can have your ambition grounded in this moment. And your ambition can surround deepening of your practice, deepening of your surrender, deepening of your love. In this moment, how much can I love? In this moment, how much can I surrender? In this moment, how deep can I take my devotion? Ambition is not always about the future. In this instance, it is about this present moment and being here fully, completely, 100%. She is depicted with 4 arms, as you can see in the picture next to me. In her upper 2 arms, she has typically a trident and a damaru. And so the damaru is a small drum. Some people refer to it as a tambourine, but traditionally it's a small drum. And the trident, again, is a symbol of strength, and it is a symbol of having the gunas under control. So the 3 points that are on the trident represent sattva, rajas, and tamas, and having those contained, having those under her control. Her other 2 hands are held again in these mudras that are becoming very familiar to us now by night 8. Her left hand is in the Varada mudra, the mudra of giving, of what are called boons, gifting her devotees. And her right hand is in Abhaya mudra, the fearlessness mudra. And so again, she's telling us very directly, by taking these 2 mudras, that peace, intelligence, and the kind of ambition that she carries require a sort of fearlessness that we might not experience in our day-to-day lives as we're running around trying to avoid that which is uncomfortable and trying to get and keep that which is. And so there's not much of this deep fearlessness associated with that. If there was, we wouldn't really have as strong a preference as we do. We might have a little bit, some, but we also would understand and acknowledge the utility of whatever it is that comes our way. So this Abhaya mudra and Varada mudra are very important. And when she's holding the Varada mudra, it is the mudra of boons, the mudra of giving. So in that regard, it's indicating to us that we should be generous. We should be generous with whatever it is that we have. Generous with our love, generous with our trust, generous with our faith, generous with our loyalty, generous with our resources, generous with our kindness, generous with whatever it is that we have in a given moment. And we should be generous fearlessly. When we take the Varda Mudra, it also indicates receiving. That we should receive whatever comes to us fearlessly. So, we get a raise at work, great, receive it fearlessly. You get a demotion at work, a little harder, receive it fearlessly. There's nothing that happens on your path and in your life that isn't kind of meant to happen, that will lead you in a certain direction. I remember I was talking with another student, and they asked me, so what did you do before you taught yoga? And I laughed a little bit and I said, well, you want the short list or the long list? And so they were like, oh, well, the long list, I guess. So I gave them the long list. I'll keep it short here. But basically, I was a waitress. I was a hostess. I was a bartender. I was a jewelry designer. I was a gemstone setter. I was a retail person for a really short time. I was a paralegal. I was a legal research assistant. I was a carpenter and a painter and a wallpaper hanger. I was an anthropologist and an archaeologist, and I was an osteologist, so someone who specializes in the study of bones. And they're looking at me, and as I'm going on and on and on, their mouth is going, huh? How did you end up here? That has nothing to do with this. Oh, and I was also an emergency responder, and I was a Red Cross educational expert, and I could keep going, There were quite a few things that I dabbled in. And this person was just like, so like how? Look where you are today. What does any of that have to do with this? And I said, well, it had everything to do with this. Everything. Because every single position that I ever held or experienced before nurtured me in a way that both made me really curious about people, about what they need, what they don't need, what they want, what they don't want, how they suffer, how they heal, how they perceive suffering and healing, how their mind and body connect with one another, how their body works, physiologically speaking, medically speaking, biologically speaking, and how their body and mind work spiritually speaking. How we judge the workings of other people, the whole psychology of that, Oh, I forgot positive psychology too. So everything before led to everything now. And if I took even one thing away, if I said, nope, I'm never going to be a bartender, nope, not going to do that, then I wouldn't be right here today. I would be somewhere else. So if that's the fact, right? If that's the fact, and it's very easy to turn around and have vision behind you and say, well, I can recognize now how, all of that was actually education that was preparing me for where I'm going to be today. Then why is it not so easy to receive whatever comes to me today as being preparation for tomorrow? Why do I discount whatever is happening today, especially if I don't like it? What we need to learn, or what we could benefit from if we learn it, is how to see every single step in this life as both a moment to be present in and as something worth investing our awareness in, because the teaching that we're going to receive in this moment is going to serve us, even if we have no idea how. So by ambition, this is what I hear. And by Varada Mudra, the giving and the receiving fearlessly, means to give what you have and receive whatever comes to you. And even if it's painful, have a little openness in your heart, because you don't know where that pain is going to lead you to. And it could lead you to being of service to humanity. It could lead you to anything. We have no way of knowing. We have no way of knowing. So we shouldn't limit it by calling it pain only. We should not limit an experience by calling it passion only. The moment that we call it that and we limit it that way, then we're saying you have no use for me later. Right now you're giving me pleasure. Right now you're giving me pain. That's the extent of you. But in reality, you know we don't work that way. You know that your entire life is held up in the catalog of your mind and in the catalog of your body. Your joints, your connective tissues, your cellular structure, your molecules, they all have bits of information that you've collected through a lifetime. And that's why you are the way you are today. That's why you feel the way you feel today. That's why you have the tendencies that you have today, is because of everything you have collected from the past. So it does serve you. The question is, will you allow it to serve you for the better? Unity, awareness, awakenness, or will you allow it to serve your demise and further suffering? So these two mudras, so very important. And again, we see them over and over and over again. Rarely do you see the other mudras. You'll see, the prayer posture. And in the yoga technical manuals, like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, you might see Yoga Mudra, Kachari Mudra, and a few others. But those are spiritually based mudras that have to do with, reaching higher levels of consciousness. And they are not easy to do either. I believe it's the Kachari Mudra, where they actually, they take the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth as far back as they can get it, and they find the soft spot. And then they take a little sharp object, and a little bit every day, they make a hole. And they also cut the holder on the bottom of the tongue, that little flap right there that keeps your tongue down. And over time, and it does mean over time, they are loosening up the tongue and creating a hole in the roof of the mouth so that they can take the tip of the tongue through the roof of the mouth and touch the pineal gland. And it is thought that whatever yogi is able to do that attains instantaneous enlightenment. Have I enticed you to try? I hope not. Don't do that under anybody's guise unless you have a teacher that you are working with who is skilled in that and understands it. But just saying that, mudras, there are other ones, but they typically are the ones that are written about are either intense. That one is a very intense mudra. Or, they're basic. It's like prayer pose, the humble posture. Typically with the hands, but then we go and we see these books that have 500 different mudras in them. And yes, the mudras are very powerful and they can support you along with lifestyle changes. But again and again and again, which ones do we see the gods and goddesses using? We see them using Varda and Abhaya. So there's something very sweet and important about those two mudras. So goddess Parvati, in order to beget Lord Shiva as her husband, underwent severe penance in the forest, braving storms, drought, severe heat, and cold. And so you might remember we talked about this early on, that, in order to get Shiva's attention so that he could see that Sati reincarnated as Parvati, Parvati would commit great austerities while he was sitting there in meditation, hoping that he would see her and fall in love with her because of her discipline, because of her tapas. So she went through 1,000 years of this, 1,000 years of really harsh, austere practices. And the difficulty of it And the elements, the hot and the cold and the no sleep and the very little food, all made her complexion very dark over time. Very dark over time. After that 1,000 years, Shiva agreed to marry her. He was pleased with her austerity. He agreed to marry her. He decided to put his grief for Sati to the side and to have a marriage and a family with Parvati. He unleashed the holy Ganges from his matted hair to wash all of that accumulated dirt off of her body. So all of the residue from her practice. And in some stories, they talk about how he would joke with her and call her Kali. He would call her Kali, the dark one, because she had taken such a toil from these sadhana practices. So he calls in Mother Ganga. And if you know your yoga and your Hinduism, you know that Mother Ganga is Parvati. And Parvati is Mother Ganga, because both are Durga. At any rate, he calls the Ganga, and she comes, she brings her beautiful, beautiful mountain waters, and she washes away all of the distress of the tapas and the austerity. And once again, Parvati is returned to her youthful beauty, to her very bright white complexion, to her luminosity, and she comes to be called the extremely fair one. And so in this particular story about her name, what we're being told is that she sacrificed so much for her love of Shiva. She sacrificed her looks, she sacrificed her time, she sacrificed her favorite pastimes, she sacrificed her ego, she sacrificed whatever there is to be sacrificed. She sacrificed it all for the sake of love. Now, that's a big statement. And I'll invite you to take a moment and think about the world today and the condition that we find the world and definitely our nation in. Love is not looked upon as a valuable essence. More and more people are looking at love as a weakness. But along with that attitude comes pain and suffering, because love is the only real healer. So we need to be mindful about fearlessly offering out all the love that our hearts can conjure and receiving love where it is offered, even if we have had the experience of love withheld, even if our ego distrusts because of that. We still need to be able to see clearly when there is sincere love so that we can receive it and allow love to grow stronger and more mighty. It's not easy. In order to do that, in order to give love and receive love, we need to sacrifice a few things. We need to sacrifice our ego. And the preferences of, well, your love is not exactly the love I wanted, so, I'll pass, thank you. No. You got to sacrifice the egoic, tendencies to judge the value of the love, because love is love. We need to sacrifice our own tendency to want to be somewhere else. Say a child comes up to you and wants to hug you or talk to you, or maybe an elder wants to talk to you for a moment and share a story from their life. I just had this experience the other day. I think it was it was a little while ago. It was like 3 weeks ago. I was standing in line at the store and there was an elderly person behind me. And I just said hello, and they started talking to me. Now, giving them my full attention, because when they're sharing a story about something that happened in their life, that they hold near to their heart that means something to them. What they're actually sharing with you is love. They're asking you to be a witness to their love. And so we could say, well, I got to go make a phone call. I got to go get my lottery tickets. I got to run over there and get soda. I got to go over here and do this. I don't have time to listen to anybody. But then we're not empowering love, are we? We need to stop and stay and hold the space for love to be revealed and revered. And if someone wants to share with you, a story from 40 years ago about how they met their beloved one, or how they practiced yoga back in the day. I get a lot of those stories. Let them, because it's love. It's a sharing. If they want to share with you complaints and misery, that's a different story. And, there's a way of being aware of that. And there's also a very kind, loving way of not receiving that energy. But when someone wants to share with you something that they adore, don't turn it down. You have all the time in the world. You can certainly take 5 minutes or an hour and allow them to express their love. So in this particular story, and of Mahagauri, there are two pretty often retold stories about how she came to be the extremely fair one. This first one exemplifies the need to sacrifice for love. The need to sacrifice for love. And then by sacrificing for love, the love itself becomes a shining energy that allows you to feel full and effulgent from the inside. And that's exactly what happened to her. Ma Ganga came down and washed away all of her worries. And the moment she opened up and allowed that into herself and allowed that expression to be her expression, then in the end, love brought her to a place beyond her imagination, beyond what she could have thought. Now, how is it beyond what she could have thought? After all, she's Parvati. Isn't she Shakti? Doesn't she already know everything? Well, both yes and no. Yes, of course, she's Parvati. Yes, of course, Parvati is an aspect of Shakti. She's an incarnation of Mother Durga. Mother Durga is an incarnation of Shakti. But the reality is that Shakti is Shakti, right? So Shakti is the source. Shakti is the source, and Shakti is really, hypothetically, I guess, is the only one who really knows what Shakti is. Ma Durga is one incarnation. She's, by many retellings, the first incarnation of Shakti, and therefore her understanding of Shakti is direct. So she's less likely to get lost from the truth of Shakti because her experience of Shakti is knowingly direct. She knows that Shakti is within her. She knows that she is the emblem of Shakti, and she embodies that. It's who she is. So she would have a very hard time forgetting what the essence of Shakti really is. Parvati is an incarnation of Durga, so we can call her second generation. And as a second generation, let's put it to you this way. Your grandparents are original generation, your parents are first generation, and you are second generation. Your parents knew your grandparents in a way that you will never know them. Durga knows Shakti in a way that Parvati might not, because Parvati is an incarnation of Durga, and she is embodied as a human on this earth, to live upon this earth, and to be susceptible to the behaviors of the gunas, the sattva, the rajas, and the tamas, just as Shiva is, just as any of the gods or goddesses that incarnate are. The second story is, excuse me, Oh, so Mahagauri, sorry, I lost my spot. I wanted to read the story to you, so I make sure I get it properly read. Boy, my English is off this evening, isn't it? Where did that go? Okay, because that is it. I apologize. See, I go off on my little tangents, and then I'm like, wait a minute, where was I? All right. So Mahagauri is said to be the goddess Parvati's most beautiful form. And she destroys all evil and assassinates the demons Shumba and Nishumba. And because she annihilated these demons, I believe it was Brahma gave her the boon of illumination, because after the war, after this battle, she was feeling drawn. And similar to the way that Parvati was feeling, or that Mahagauri was feeling, as Parvati, she was feeling, we'll use the word dirty or dark or tainted or stained somehow because of this interaction. And so I do believe it's Brahma who gave her the idea to go bathe in the Mansarovar River in the Himalayas. And once she did, and some stories say the Ganges River, and this one says the Mansarovar. And once she did, she became like an effulgent light. Any remnant of that energy from the battle was gone from her. So Mahagauri is a symbol of forgiveness, of penance. She denotes peace and forgiveness of all those who conduct evil in the world, and that would be you and me, because as human beings, that's what our tendency is. We have a tendency to be kind, certainly, but we also have a very strong tendency to be harmful, and that harm can be called a sin, or it can be called an evil. And so she forgives us for those misbehaviors. She forgives us for the harm that we commit. If we are sincere in our sadhana, if we are sincere in our practice, then she purifies our heart, and our heart begins to shine with an effulgence just like she has. So you can just keep, gazing upon her picture here, upon her likeness, and recognize that there is an amazing brilliance there, and that your heart, through her grace, will shine with that similar brilliance as well. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, sometimes I think blessed, and sometimes I think otherwise, but I have equal function in both my left and right hemispheres of my brain. So I am both logical and very creative. And sometimes they're at a battle with one another. I like to understand why, and I also like to dream. Why not? So when I'm studying the goddess, when I'm in a little bit of my logical mind, I like to make connections between things. I like to see, I enjoy seeing that 500, 700, 1200, 1000, 2000 years ago, that whenever the scriptures were presented, that they were layered, just layer upon layer upon layer of meaning after meaning. If you miss this meaning, you'll get that meaning. And if you don't get that meaning, then there's another one waiting here for you. So if you're not good at reading between the lines, it'll be obvious in the lines. And if you're not good at reading in the lines, then it'll be obvious somewhere else. It just keeps bombarding you with connection after connection after connection. One of the things we talked about last night, I think it was how in this huge battle that occurs, the first two demons that come forward are Madhu and Katab. And Madhu is sweetness and Katab is bitterness. And so Mahishasura sends Durga Ma, these two demons, to retrieve her, to wear her down, to win her over. And what is he really sending her? Well, he's sending her preferences. He's sending her sweetness versus bitterness. And he's asking her to choose. Which one do you want? Because I can give you either. I can give you what's sweet. In other words, I can lavish you with gems and kingdoms and this, that, the other thing. Wouldn't you like that? Or I can give you what's bitter. I can drag you here by your hair and force you to marry me. You can have it either way, but you must have it. This is the play of the ego. You think that there is only two things to choose from, when in reality, there is a third. And the third is neither or both. And that's the same thing, actually. So you either choose neither, and then neither have power over you, or you choose both and are indifferent to their effect upon you. And then neither of them have power over you either. So, all right, so if we read this beautiful battle story, what we find is that Ma is laying out to us, as she's meeting and defeating these different demons, she's laying out for us a spiritual path. She's telling us, well, the very first thing you have to do is show up. The second thing you have to do is deal with your preferences. So she's telling us in no uncertain terms, and very specifically, the direction and the process that we need to become engaged in order to make our way through to peace, to the resulting peace at the end of the war. When I look at the Nav Durga, I see something really similar. Many times as humans, we think, well, I have a great thought. I think I'll start going to the gym. I'll get all beefed up, maybe lose a couple of pounds. I feel really great about myself, and then I'll finally be happy. And so we go to the gym once, and right after that first time, we measure our waist, only to find out that it's 2 inches bigger. We become a little disappointed there. But we say, I'm going to stick with it, going to go back to it, going to make it happen. Go back to the gym. This time, after the second time, we get on the scale. The scale's 3 pounds heavier. Definitely disappointed. Still go back for maybe one more time. By the end of the third time that you go back, you might decide, well, this obviously isn't going to work for me. It's hard work. I don't enjoy it. I don't like getting up at this hour of the morning to have to leave my house. Why am I putting on weight? Why is my waist getting bigger? This obviously isn't working for me. And so you go on to the next thing, maybe the newest fad, paleo diet or something. Because our ego wants it now. Doesn't want to do the long-term work. The ego wants the benefit now. So if I go to the gym today, then I should be able to see the results today. I shouldn't have to work for any stretch of time in order to see those results. And it's silly because we all know that we have to work for some period of time, but the ego wants it differently, and we're really driven by that. So if you search your heart, you'll probably come to recognize that that's very true, that there's something in your life where you have not given yourself the opportunity to actually experience it because you wanted to rush through to the outcome rather than be invested in the process. So some of you know where I'm going with this now. That if you look at the 9 forms of Durga, what you are seeing is process. The battle itself tells you the process of what you must encounter. So you must encounter and conquer your preferences. You must encounter and conquer your ignorance. You must encounter and conquer your self-deprecation. You must encounter and conquer your judgment of others. You must encounter and conquer. And so the entire battle is telling you what you must conquer. The Nav Durga are telling you it's going to take time. And these are the stages that you're going to go through. Day 1, Shailaputri. She represents action and vigor. You got to show up, and you've got to have some kind of enthusiastic energy to begin the work. You got to have some fearlessness and some willingness to give the best of yourself, the greatest intention of yourself into the process. Day 2, brahmacharini, symbolizes tranquility, but a strong, strong energy. So now we find I've shown up and I have this enthusiastic feeling about doing this work. I'm ready to get going. But now you know what happens when you start a marathon fast is that you burn out quick. So brahmacharini's message to us is you need to maintain a sense of tranquility within yourself while you're going through this process, but strong also. So you need to be focused, you need to be present, you need to do the work that has to be done, but you also need to maintain tranquility within so that you don't burn out and become disappointed and frustrated, a couple of days or hours into the process. Now, this is not just for your spiritual awakening. This is also for your relationships in life. This is for everything that you experience in life. You've got to be willing to show up. You've got to have some level of enthusiasm. You need to have strength within yourself, but also tranquility. Day 3, Chandraganta, she symbolizes bravery because there comes a moment when you must act. And maybe it's, that you've decided, well, I'm really going to go on this fitness experience. I'm really going to try to bring myself into a better state of health and wellness. So you show up to that and you're enthusiastic. You start reading about great recipes and, better restaurants that cook more naturally and don't use MSG and all these other things, and how to cook vegetables so that they remain very nutritious in your meal plan. And you're recognizing that you've got to be really strong in your intention here, but you also know I've got to have some kind of tranquility within myself. I can't just change everything overnight or I'm going to miss those other foods. So I have to be at peace with this. And if I want a little something that I'm accustomed to, maybe have that, but don't indulge in it. But then there's going to come a moment where your BFF is going to call you on the phone and say, hey, let's go to Mickey D's and get us some burgers. And you're like, ew, that's my best friend. And I want her to like me. I don't want her to be mad at me. I don't want her to think I don't want to hang out with her. I don't really want to go to McDonald's though, because I'm trying this whole new thing. You got to have the bravery to say, maybe not Mickey D's. How about you come over and we'll make salads together and we'll talk about good times. So you've got to show up with the bravery, with the courage to do what it is that your heart is set to do. Hopefully that's making sense. Yeah. Okay. Then day 4, we have Kushmanda, lovingly known as the cosmic egg. Remember, she brought forward the cosmic egg that contains the whole universe. She is the essence of creativity, expansiveness, and conscious awareness. And so after you've shown up with your enthusiasm, recognizing that you need to have a strong foundation, strong intention, but you also need inner peace, recognizing that there's going to be moments where you need to have bravery to stand into that foundation. You will also have moments where you will experience your own creativity. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of your own self-expanding, of your own expansive consciousness. You'll begin, no matter what the changes that you're making, to see more of life, not less, more of life. So much more of it. Day 5, Skandamata. She symbolizes protection and the essence of a protective mother. And that is a fearlessness, again, fearlessness. And so this is kind of a process of back and forth. It's a dance. It's the Leela of the mother, about how she comes and goes from this dance and how she spins us around and how she spins the demons around. But never once does she forget. Never once does she forget. She may begin in a moment to enjoy the dance, but she knows she's there to protect her children. in the midst of this battle. And in the midst of any moment, what are you there to do? You are there to protect the Dharma. You're there to protect the essence of your spiritual journey, such that you are resolving more karma than you are collecting. And so we can enjoy the power of creativity. We can enjoy the experience of expansiveness. We can enjoy having a great conscious awareness, a very wonderful peripheral view of so much more than what we currently have. But we must not become enticed by that to forget the reason why we're here. And in the yoga teachings, they say in the Yoga Sutras and in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and in a few others, the Devi Mahagauri may also talk about this. They say, be mindful, because there comes a moment in time where you achieve certain abilities. They're not the goal. They're a little gift. And if you hyperindulge in them, then you will think that they are the goal and you won't continue on. You need to protect your Dharma and protect your purpose. And even though you can appreciate and enjoy, you also need to keep a mind to the work. Day 6, Katyayani, symbolizes courage and clear right action. And again, protection of Dharma. So it's starting to get kind of intense here now because we're having, some of this play, some of this dance of the Divine Mother back and forth, but we also now have these two goddesses in a row who both symbolize protection. And for myself, I look at that and I say to myself, that's because the further along this path that you get, the more answers you think you have. And there's the tendency to become complacent with those answers. So this is the time to continually deepen the inquiry, to continually deepen and to continually deepen the honesty, and to be humble about what we have learned and how much we still don't know. And that type of an attitude leads us to clear right action, rather than cloudy, uncertain action. Like, just as an example, heading off to Mickey D's with the friend, instead of staying to the path that you've chosen for yourself, is actually unclear action. It's very unclear. It's confusing you because you're giving your taste buds and your senses one message, and you're bringing into your mind and heart another message, and those are opposing messages. And so it's very difficult to come to a place of right action when you yourself are the one who is confusing you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, okay. And so day 6, Katyayani. Day 7, Kalaratri, fierce love, and again, protection. So we're like in the midst of this battle here. And it is not an overnight affair. And it is not a 1 hour. It is not even a week or a month. It could be a lifetime. It could be 1,000 years like it was for Parvati. It can be a very long time. And what keeps us on that track, what keeps us going back to our spiritual practices, what keeps us going back to our devotional practices, what keeps us going back to the gym, is a fierce love. Fierce love. Not a passive love, not a weak love, not a, oh, I just want everybody to be happy love. It's a fierce love that says, I understand my potential lies beyond my range of understanding right now, but I am going to continue to work for that potential, because that is where freedom exists. When I meet my potential, when you meet your potential, when we all meet our potential. Ma is a fierce love. She is a fierce love. And as many of you who are devotees of the mother knows, she doesn't fool around. Devi's probably somewhere laughing right now. She doesn't fool around. She is She's very straightforward. And she wants your love. She wants your heart. She wants your truth. She wants your honesty. She wants your devotion. She will take all the stuff that's messy too. Of course she will, because she's fierce enough to know what to do with it. We need to be fierce enough to know what to do with it too. So that's another side of this, is to say, so now you're, going to continue using this going to the gym example. And now an old friend comes along and is like feeling really down on themselves and says to you, well, you're like a different person now. You're changing. You're not fun anymore. You don't want to go out and drink. You don't want to go and have, loaded nachos with me anymore. You should stop this and just come back to being the person that I know. If you give into that, you're not giving into that because you love that person. You're giving into that because you are afraid of that person not loving you. Fierce love means that you need to be the example, to stand your ground and to show this person what love really is. And love is acceptance. Love is acceptance. Love is also invitation. It's to say, look, come try this. Let's do it together. Maybe you'll find something that you enjoy. But I can't stop, because if I do, I will not be authentically who I am. And that's an important thing to remember, authenticity. And not selling ourselves out to others simply to make them more comfortable. That's really hard in the world right now. Well, now we come to day 8. And day 8 is obviously a shift, right? It's a huge shift, because look at Mahagauri Devi. She has no weapons. She is not fierce looking. She symbolizes peace and intelligence. And so what the promise of Mahagauri is this: if you show up enthusiastically with a strong foundation, cultivating a strong foundation, and you stick to that foundation, and you continually sacrifice, and you continually surrender, and you continually remember to protect the Dharma, and you continually remember to follow the Dharma, and you continually remember your purpose here, and you stand for truth, and you don't sell truth out, and you don't sell yourself out. You see clearly and you act clearly and with sincerity, then the place that brings you to is a place of peace and a place of wisdom. It brings you to a place of inner peace, because now you're being honest with yourself and you're living your truth. And yes, it's been one heck of a battle to get there, a battle that maybe took 1,000 years, but you are there now. And peace is the promise. And the intelligence is not like, haha, I'm smarter than you. The intelligence is the connection to the universal wisdom, where you just see and know and recognize. And in that seeing, that knowing, that recognizing, you may acknowledge, but there's no need to judge, because you come to understand that every other person is in the midst of this process too. Whether they're dealing currently with Madhu and Kaitab, or they're dealing with Shambha and Nishambha, or they're, with Siddhiratri, with Kalaratri, with the fierce love and the protection, or with Shailaputri, setting the foundation. Everybody is somewhere, working from some different angle in this process. And at the point where you come to the place of peace and intelligence, you are able to see that in no unclear terms, and to accept it with complete compassion. When we get to tomorrow, when we get to night 9, Siddhiratri, Siddhiratri symbolizes spiritual perfection. So that's the outcome. The outcome is that your spiritual heart is pure. You come to a place where you are adoring the mother and you are surrendered to her. You come to a place of sincere authenticity, adherence to the virtues, understanding of the path. And at that point, maybe there are no more questions because you just understand and you choose love. So I've definitely gone to my time. And I know that we are in a moment preparing for an amazing, amazing kirtan with the wonderful Nina Rao. And I'm so honored to have her here. I'm going to hand it over to Jyoti in a moment to do introductions. But, you know, I welcome you all to think about this and to think about maybe no longer saying to yourself, why am I not further on this path? This path has so many facets to it, so many complicated turns and twists. You are right where you are supposed to be. So be in that moment and know that the Goddess Mother is with you, supporting you in ways that we cannot even begin to explore verbally, but in ways that will become known to you eventually. So I thank you all so much for listening, for staying with me through this talk. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jyoti Ma.
Thank you so much, Swaminiji. That was absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the beautiful stories today, and then also just the reflections on how each of these days builds up to each other as an example of us on our spiritual journey. And I'm so pleased to welcome Nina Rao for kirtan this evening. And before I tell you a little bit about Nina, I want to actually say one thing about her that if you don't know Nina, or maybe if you do, to me, she is just so phenomenal in the fact that when you look at someone from the outside and you're able to see these seeds that people plant, a lot of times in our own lives, it's so hard for us to see, you know, all the ripples that our lives create. And when people write bios too, you know, it's so hard for people. If you ever have to write your own bio, you know, it's really, really difficult because we're trying to take a look at all these ways of things that we wanted to do. Have they grown? Have they not grown? Which ways have our lives kind of bended in the path? So like Swaminiji was saying earlier, we have all these things that build on top of each other. And I remember it was a few years ago, I was, you know, looking at Nina on different social media platforms and seeing her in person. And I'm like, wow, her huge seed that I'm aware of is this surgence of the Hanuman Chalisa in the West, particularly in the United States. You know, you go to India, and obviously everyone grows up in this culture, and so the Hanuman Chalisa is like sewn into the fabric of their lives. And in the US, you know, it's really has not been like a thing. So sometimes you might find one or two yoga teachers who are aware of it. And I feel like one of Nina's biggest contributions to the yoga world in the US is actually the surgence of the Hanuman Chalisa, learning and understanding what it is, learning who Hanuman is, the source of bhakti's devotion, which is what we're talking about tonight. And it's also about service, and then teaching us all how to chant it. And so I just wanted to say a personal thank you to Nina, because the Hanuman Chalisa is so incredibly dear to me, and I'm so appreciative of what you're doing in your path. So Nina Rao learned traditional chants, bhajans, from her grandfather in a village in South India when she was 9 years old. And the chants quietly stayed with her until she rediscovered chanting with Krishna Das in New York in 1996. Her childhood was spent living in and moving between many countries around the world. And when she settled in New York, working with the banking world, she then switched to organizing and leading photographic wildlife safaris in Africa and India. And now for many years is Krishna Das's business manager and assistant. Nina tours with Krishna Das, playing cymbals and singing with him, and was honored in 2013 to accompany him to the Grammy Awards webcast performance. In 2007, she recorded the track Nina Chalisa on Krishna Das's CD Flow of Grace, chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. In January 2013, she released her debut album, The Knower of All Hearts. And the double CD inside includes devotional kirtan and bhajans and a variety of Hanuman Chalisa melodies, including a duet with Krishna Das. And Nina regularly leads kirtan, chanting the Hanuman Chalisa, and sings for yoga classes in her hometown of Brooklyn, New York, and beyond. And you can learn more about her at ninaraochant.com. You can follow her on social media. And Nina also holds classes regularly online. So if you sign up for her e-blast, she'll send you a list of them. And a lot of them are actually in relation to the Divine Feminine as well. So as you want to continue your studies, Nina has a variety of offerings. So Nina, welcome. Thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful welcome. And Swamini, I wish I could have been here every day to hear you talk. I joined earlier on in the beginning. And this whole week has been so crazy with so many things happening. I just couldn't make it, but I wish I had. And I actually wrote to Jyoti and I said, are there going to be recordings so I can go back and listen to everything again? Which she said, there is, and there will be, and there are. So I appreciate that introduction about Hanuman. But I do want to say that things aren't always what they seem, in the sense that I actually heard the Hanuman Chalisa from Krishna Das. And that was here in America. And even though I had spent a lot of time in India growing up, I didn't spend my entire childhood there, but I spent about 10 years there. It actually wasn't practiced very much in the south of India, at least in the area that we were from. Our family, my grandfather was a devotee of, our family lineage is actually the Sringeri Sharada Devi in the south of India. So he sang a lot of Devi bhajans, but he also sang a lot of Krishna bhajans. That was my grandfather's, sort of his lineage. And then with my parents, I didn't really chant very much because we came to the West and got absorbed in this whole life until I met Krishnadas. And so it kind of came back in a full circle. And I heard the Hanuman Chalisa from him. And it's because I wanted to go back to the roots of his bhakti, where it came from. Because that's what really struck me when I first heard him sing in a yoga class. And I ended up going to India, to Neem Karoli Baba's temple. And I met, I think you can see her, maybe. There's a little reflection. So this is my guru. Her name is Sri Siddhi Ma. And she left the body a couple of years ago, but for many years, while I went to India, was in the temples, and she had us always singing the Hanuman Chalisa. So it's a good thing I learned it. It's very much a main practice there. But also in that temple is this Vaishnavi Devi, Vindhyavasini Durga Devi is her name. And it's a beautiful murti that's about, I don't know, maybe 4 feet tall or so. And, you can come quite close to her, to the inner sanctum, and really feel like you're standing in front of the goddess. Many times I did feel that when we were there, when we did our prayers every day. And it's also said that Neem Karoli Baba actually created this Durga Devi in the model of Siddhi Ma. They say that. She would never say that, but that's what they say. And so our main practice there was the Hanuman Chalisa, but we spent a lot of time doing Devi Puja as well. In fact, the very first visit that I made to Kenchi was during exactly this season, just before. I had never been in a 9-night program like that, and it was amazing. It was pouring rain, monsoons in India in the hills. And there was a yagya in the back and the prayers going on all day. And it didn't it took me a few years to actually sit and be with those, the puja all day long. But eventually I did get into it, and nowadays I like to just read the Chandi part during this season, and also during Chaitra Navratri in the spring season. So I thought what I would do today is just sing some of the chants to the goddess that come from the traditional prayer books, and also things that have just come to me that we like to sing together. So I hope that will be okay. So this chant is really dedicated to Mother Earth, but Mother Earth in all her forms, but the one in which we are held. So that could be in all the ways that we'd like, as Durga, as Kali, Radha, Sita, whatever feminine form that one feels, or even not feminine, because that's an aspect that everyone has, the ability to care for, provide for, and give to. That is the motherly instinct. We're all mothers. We have been mothers some lifetime, if not this one. Hang on a second, I'm so sorry. Better. It's electronic drummers, I'm so sorry. Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jaya Ma Bhumi Devi Shri Ma Jai Ma Bhumi Devi Shri Ma Jai Ma Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai 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 Jai Ma Shri Ma Jaya Ma Jai Jai Ma Shri Ma Jaya Ma Jai Jai Ma Shri Ma Jaya Ma Jai Jai Ma Amma Anandadayini Amma Anandadayini 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 Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jai Ma Jagatambe Janani Shri Ma Jaya Ma Bhumi Devi Bhumi Devi Shri Ma Jaya Ma Durga Devi Shri Ma Jaya Ma Kali Devi Jai Ma. Shri Ma Jaya Ma Jai 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 Jai Ma. Amma Anandadayini. Amma Anandadayini. Jyoti, can I ask you, how is the sound? Is anything too loud or too soft or too anything?
It's magical and wonderful and perfect.
Sure? Okay, good. Good. All right. By the way, this is my partner. This is Brad. Should we turn this up a little? Can I do that here?
Sure.
Is that the master? That's the volume, right? Okay. So, one of the years that I was reading through the Chandi part, I found a prayer at the very end. It's called Pranam. Pranam as to bow, and bow deeply in surrender, and it's bowing to the goddess. So there are a few verses in Sanskrit, and maybe while Brad is tuning over there, if you don't mind, I will just read the translation of what it is. And I found ultimately, after reading all 700 verses, that this was the essential takeaway from everything. So it's pranam, bowing down with devotion. Okay. The reliever of difficulties, exposer of goodness, cause of peace, infinite consciousness, beloved by knowers of consciousness, she who motivates and guides the three worlds, always I bow to her, and I am bowing to goodness herself. Welfare, radiant beauty, completely pure, without limitations, the ultimate limitation, the Lord of the universe, the Mother of the universe, to you, Chandi, to the energy which tears apart thought, I bow in submission or surrender. She is composed of all the gods, removes all sickness and fear. Brahma, Maheshwara, and Vishnu bow down to her, and I always bow down to the energy of infinite goodness. The dwelling place of knowledge, residing in knowledge, resident in the place of divine illumination, the cause of union, the knower of union, to the energy which tears apart thought, we constantly bow. The Mother of the Supreme Consciousness, the Goddess who is the Supreme Consciousness, beloved by the Supreme Consciousness, we always bow to Durga, the reliever of difficulties, who takes aspirants across the difficult sea of objects and their relationships. So I found when I read this that whatever support I was looking for, she was taking care of everything. I just have to remember that more often. So I'll sing these verses in Sanskrit at first, and then we can do a little call and response, and you all will know these names, so you can sing with me. Shivam Shanti Karim Brahmanim Brahmana Priyam Sarvaloka Pranatrim Cha Pranamami Sada Shivam Mangalam Shobhanam Shuddham Nishkalam Vishveshwari Vishwamatam Chandikam Pranamamyam Sarvadeva Mayim Devi Sarvaroga Bhayapaham Brahmesha Vishnu Namitam Pranamami Vindhyastham Vindhyanilayam Divyasana Nivashini Yoginim Yoga Janani Chandikam Pranamamyaham Ishana Mataram Devi Ishvarim Ishvara Priyam Pranatosmi Sada Durga Samsaranavatarini Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma. Your turn. Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Jaya Jagatambe Ma Durga Jaya Jagatambe Ma Durga Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma 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 Jaya Jagatambe Ma Durga Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Mahadevi Lalita Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Mahadevi Lalita Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma Chamunde Kali Durga Ma Shri How much time do we have left? 10 minutes? So?
Or as much as you want.
Okay.
So yeah, you can, yeah. We're happy to listen to you and chant with you.
Great. Maybe we'll do Saraswati now. Do you need to tune again for that one? Okay. So this chant is for Ma Saraswati, and the words for this are Namastasye Mata, Saraswati Sharade Devi, and then Narayani Om. Namaste Saraswati Sharade Devi Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Jai Ma, all blessings of Devi Navratri. Thank you so much.
Oh, Nina, thank you so much. Brad, thank you so much. Such a blessing to have you both here with us. Truly, you have brought such warmth and radiance to our hearts. And Nina, I so appreciate what you shared about the Hanuman Chalisa.
Yeah.
And I must say that I have listened to Nina's Chalisa 10,000 times. I leave it on in my car quite often. And every once in a while, I say to myself, this is all I'm going to listen to for like the next 6 months, just this. And it's just so beautifully offered and so beautifully done. So thank you for that gift to the world. Thank you. And for your devotion. Yeah, such an honor. Thank you both.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Many blessings of the Mother to you both. May she keep you well. May she protect you. May she protect your health and your love and your light always.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
And so next I'm pleased to present Durga Mayi Ma. Durga Mayi Ma is a New Jersey Shore native, devoted wife, mother of 3 girls, and founder of Karma Life Holistic Wellness. Durga Mayi Ma is a yogini, intuitive body worker, Reiki master teacher, yoni steam facilitator, and Ayurveda lifestyle and nutrition practitioner and chef, with emphasis on feminine form Ayurveda and spiritual tantra. She's been studying and teaching in the health and wellness field for over 15 years, with an emphasis on guiding women into becoming active forces in their own healing. She leads the bodywork department at the Atlantic Club in New Jersey, where she is known as the Bodywork Guru, described as a natural healer. Additionally, she is the lead teacher and creator of the Empower Yoga Teacher Program and offers certification courses and continuing education programs through Yoga Alliance and International Association of Reiki Professionals. Durga Mayi Ma has had the privilege of studying with teachers such as Swaminiji at Kula Kamala Ashram, Katie Silcox of Shakti School, Mary Thompson, CAS Ayurvedacharya, and Dr. Zaylan Boyd. Rooted in empowering and inspiring students to awaken to their own inner teacher, she offers workshops and self-care retreats. She also enjoys teaching children and adolescents yoga, mindfulness techniques, and breathing. She specializes in numerous massage techniques and intuitive energy and is skillful at guiding her students in well-educated practical knowledge. She offers Ayurvedic handmade herbal goods and her apothecary shop, and also food services with her program Durga's Own Cooking and Ayurveda Lifestyle and Nutrition. And so we're very happy to turn it over to Durga Mayi Ma. Thank you so much.
So what does one say after all of that? I mean, goodness. It's like words, talk, right out the window. Wow, 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 wow. All I can say is Jai Ma, Jai Ma, woo, Jai Ma. Oh my goodness, that was just beautiful. Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you, and Brad. Thank you so much. That was what I needed, what we all need, right? Oh my goodness. So, and thank you, Jyoti Ma and Diana Devi and my guru, Swaminiji. Thank you so much again for having me back for another night. This has just been amazing. I stop and wonder to myself, how do we keep going for days of doing this? And all I could think of is chai tea. and the love of the mother. I mean, So I'm back again, and I'm sharing in on the essence of Chai Devi, and tonight I'm going to speak a little bit about Saraswati, Maha Saraswati. But before we get started, I've been talking about the 9 herbs of Durga, and so the 9 essential herbs of the 9 different essence or aspects of Durga. And so we had 3 left on the list because I was trying to keep everyone in this suspense. Ooh. So here we go. We have the last 3, and we left off, we have Kalaratri tonight. So I'm talking about the 7th aspect of Durga, and known as the Mahayogini Kalaratri, or the Mahayogeshwari. And the herb, the essence that draws this aspect in, this Kalaratri essence, is a plant called Nagadon. So Nagadaun. And so Nagadon is an herb. It's said that if you plant this Nagadon, near the home, that it helps to keep away all your troubles, right? So it's really good for digestion problems, fever, for supporting the liver, depression, and muscle aches or muscle issues. It's also going to help with memory. So believe it or not, it's a strand of in the wormwood family. And so something that would be closely somewhat related into that family as I can think of, because I don't have Nagadon on hand, but I have mugwort. And so mugwort is very similar to that family. And so that is Kalaratri, which is the 7th Nav Durga. And so we're going to move on to Mahagauri, which is the 8th Durga. And so the herb that draws the essence of this aspect of Durga would be Tulsi, or holy basil. We talked about last time, I think I was on, we actually made a tea blend to support Mahalakshmi. So we have Tulsi. So Tulsi, or holy basil. And this herb is famously known for its ability to purify the blood, and it helps to keep any aspects of like heart diseases. So that can go, wrong with the heart. And I should have started off with this by saying anything that I talk about as far as herbs or ingesting herbs or plants or working with medicinal herbs, please make sure that you advise your physician, your doctor, and that, or you're working closely related to, with a Ayurvedic practitioner like myself, or someone who has an idea of what your health is, because some things can counteract, and you really need to know everything that's going on with your own self, with your body, before you just start to add some of these things, because if you're on medication, they may counteract with your medication as well. So moving back to Mahagauri, we have Tulsi, holy basil. And so for the last one of Navdurga, which is the 9th aspect of Durga, we have Siddhidatri. Siddhidatri. So, and for Siddhidatri, the essence or the herb that we would draw in for her, which I don't have right next to me, but would be Shatavari. And so Shatavari is good for almost everything. I think I had mentioned that the last time I spoke. Is an awesome herb, root, and actually they say it's something that you can probably take every day, right? And so it's a good antioxidant. It's an anti-inflammation, inflammatory. It's a boost, helps to boost your immune system. It relieves coughs, may help with ulcers. And the great thing is about it is it's an adaptogenic herb, right? So it's going to help to provide some ease, some soothing to the nervous system. So those are the 9 herbs we went all over. I'm sure you can backtrack, or I'll even have something, maybe the final night we can display all the herbs in a row for Navdurga, but those are the last 3 that I had on my list. So we are talking about Maha Saraswati this evening, the goddess of wisdom and learning, inspiration. She's known as one who expands consciousness, creativity, and her city, or her special power, is that creativity, right? In all aspects of learning, of arts, of music. Yes. And so just to read a little bit about our Maha Saraswati, she's a beautiful goddess of knowledge and music in the arts. She's considered to be the consort of God, the creator, Brahma. So she represents fertility, prosperity. Also, she is reckoned with a Mahayana in Buddhism, holding a Tripitaka and the Tripitaka scriptures. Tripitaka, scriptures. I'm a little tongue twisted. I've been teaching a lot today. Here we go. So, in the Vandara, she is considered to be the feminine energy, knowledge aspect, Shakti, of Brahman God. She's dressed in pure white, which signifies the purity of her true knowledge. She represents the experience of the highest reality, and is also intelligence, consciousness, learning, essential divine knowledge, creativity, as we were just saying, education, enlightenment, music, the arts, and power. She is associated with purity and creativity, communication, sound, verbal skills, flows of thoughts and words. I actually, I play a little bit of the harmonium. Nothing compared to Nina, by all means, or Jotima, or even Devi, but I'm self-taught, but my harmonium is actually, I named my harmonium Vak, which is actually for goddess Vak, who is also another name for Saraswati, meaning the goddess of sound. Yeah, she's pretty friggin' awesome, right? Pretty awesome. And Hindu, she usually pictured as the deity, the goddess, seated on a swan. She's often seated on a white lotus as well, and additionally associated with the color yellow. Saraswati dresses modestly, not heavily adorned, right? Not heavily adorned with jewels or gold like Mahalakshmi. Her forearms represent the four sides to learning, mind, intellect, alertness, and ego. Alternatively, her forearms are taken by some to mean prose, the books in one hand, poetry, the garland of crystal, music, and the veena, which is the pot or water, meaning purity. A white swan is often seen close to her feet. The swan thus symbolizes fine, elegant discrimination. Saraswati is also referred to as Hamsa Vahini. Vahini, I'm sure I said that slightly wrong, but that's what I think it is, Hamsa Vahini. Which means she who has swan as her vehicle. She is usually depicted near a flowing river, which may be related to her early history as a river goddess. And the swan and her association with the lotus flower also point to her ancient origin. Sometimes a peacock of vain arrogance is shown beside her. It allegedly is to teach not to be so much concerned with external appearances and to be wise concerning external truth. So that was a little something that I read on Saraswati that I wanted to share. And she's amazing. Some herbs that can help support would be, I would say, herbs that help support the Shuddha chakra, and so the throat chakra, considering that she is a voice of sound, right? So herbs that would help to support this area of the body, the respiratory, the mind, considering that she's of intellect and of the mind, right? Creativity comes from the mind. So some of these herbs that would draw on that essence of these different energy centers. By supporting the throat chakra, drawing the essence of Saraswati, you're helping to free your voice, right? And it would also help, these plant medicinal herbs will help to support strengthening the nervous system, supporting the liver, and mind, a special ability to free both physical and emotional obstructions in the throat region. So the mind and any obstructions, physically or energetically, for the throat. Also, any of these herbs may assist in the feelings of calmness. As you look at Saraswati, you see she's very much calm, very much in her place, playing her music, sitting on a lotus, or sometimes even on the swan, right? So anything that would support calmness, help with clarity of self, and help boost any type of creative power. And in turn, helping with confidence of one's being. Yeah. And so just a little bit about the throat chakra, the Vishuddha. Throat chakra is the energy center related to one's ability to express clearly. To express clearly, speaking your truth, more importantly. When someone's throat chakra is blocked or stuck, it may be difficult for them to manifest their ideas. It may be difficult to clearly express their thoughts and perhaps their feelings. A really good, and I put together, I'm going to read you just a little bit first before I get ahead of myself about the 9 days of Navdurga during the times of puja, or when you're celebrating the 9 days, and how you're incorporating the essence of Maha Saraswati. And so just a little bit real quick. Bells are rung and devotional chants are sung from the sense of sound. This aspect of the puja particular is Saraswati's realm, for she is Vak, the primordial goddess of sound. It is through Vak's sacred vibrations that the physical world comes into being. The origins of Saraswati trace back to Saraswati River of the Indus or Saraswati Valley civilization, around roughly 3,500 through 1700 BCE. Saras means both salt and flow. And the Saraswati River is said to have been slightly saline. Agrological remains of this ancient civilization contain an abundance of female figurines, presumably priestess and goddesses. On the many seals and other relics that have been discovered in this region, we find an ancient script. Deciphering these symbols has become a controversial area of contemporary scholarship due to disagreement about the translations. Nevertheless, it is fitting to find that ancient writing in a place that is the namesake of the goddess of writing. In fact, one of her earliest epithets from the Vedas, Vak, also means word. So Saraswati is the flow of water, of speech, of creative inspiration. From the first day onward, music, dancing, art, ritual worship are all interwoven and are known throughout the 10-day festivals as a blessing or blessings from Saraswati. So I thought that was pretty cool and amazing, right? All the sounds, all the chanting, all the dancing, all of that is like the essence of Maha Saraswati. Maha Vak. Yeah. And so this is also, I'm reading from I've been using this for the last few times that I've come on, but this is Goddess Durga and the Sacred Female Power. That's the name of the book. So something that you can create, because I've been creating teas for each time that I've spoken. We made one for Durga, we made one for Lakshmi. Today I'm going to talk about a Saraswati churna that you can make. And again, just remember, all of these medicinal properties, you definitely want to make sure that you're checking in with a doctor or anyone like that, to have, to make sure you have the go ahead, you're okay. So these are all by equal parts that you can put this concoction together. And so a churna would be a mixture of herbs that you can steep, or a blend of herbs that you can steep in hot water. And then you can drink it, sift the herbs and drink it as so. So it's like it's a tea, really. But you're going to have, the ingredients wise, you're going to have only about 1 to 3 grams of the churna. But you can have it 2 to 3 times in a day. So you can drink it and make it a couple of times out of the day. And then it's best to drink it while it's hot to warm, obviously to drink, and sipping it throughout the day. And so this is a combination of herbs that are combining our tonifying and clarifying nervines, as well as warming digestives to support clear expression, calm mind, focus, rejuvenate the mind, help to free the voice, and boost creative power. All essence of Maha Saraswati. Helps to target the throat area, calms and strengthens the nervous system. I think that's probably the most important part of all of it. So we'll just go through it. We have one of our first ones. I'll talk about the churna, and then I'll talk about the tea that I created. So the first ingredient, we have ashwagandha, very popular herb as of lately. It's been quite the trend. Ashwagandha, make sure you take ashwagandha. It's an awesome herb to take. I take it every day. It just so happens to be really trendy right now. Like when everyone said use coconut oil, it was like the new thing. Everyone's using coconut oil for everything. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And so ashwagandha is a starchy root. Ashwagandha. I actually have some of it right here. You can get an idea of what it looks like, perhaps. The starchy root. The starchy root, right? And you can also get it in powdered form. You can also get it as a tincture as well. Ashwagandha is awesome. I love it. I have nothing bad to say about ashwagandha. It is one of my BFFs. So it's a starchy root. It's a go-to root. It's a go-to herb, medicinal herb for Ayurveda. Very well known. It's mainly supportive for Vata imbalance types. So that air, ether element, particularly of psycho-emotional nature. Ashwagandha helps to support sound, regular sleep, as well as a calm and steady mind. Therefore, it is traditionally used for insomnia, nervousness, stress, fatigue, overworked, and basically just a general liveliness for the body, for your energy, right? So it's a really good one. Next on the list for my Saraswati Charna is calamus. This is a peppery tasting root that is pungent and bitter and astringent in taste. Calamus has a warm energy to it. Overall, it is pacifying, purifying effect of the body, clarifying effect on the mind. It traditionally is used to soothe vata and kapha types. So vata, kapha, dosha. Such as it also helps with colds, coughs, congestion, any type of sinus issues. So basically what we're going into right now as far as our seasons, right? And so it also helps with mental clarity and awareness, memory as well. So I'll take some of that. Calamus is, in cases of speech impediments, it's good for anything that has to do with loss of speech, hindrance in self-expression in any way. So that is calamus. The next one on our Churna list is Skanka Pushpi. So Shanka Pushpi. And so like Ashwagandha, Shanka Pushpi has a rejuvenating effect on the mind and the nervous system. Slightly different than Ashwagandha though, in the way that the energetics are slightly different. Though they are tonifying and lighter and cooler than Ashwagandha is. And more pacifying. And so this is actually an herb that is good for all doshas, kapha, pitta, and vata. It's pacifying to all three. Shanka Pushpi, SHANKA is used by Ayurvedic practitioners in cases of like the depression, epilepsy, memory loss, sluggish liver, insomnia. It also may support attention deficit disorders as well. So ADD, ADHD. Due to the herb's calming and rejuvenating effects on the nervous system, interesting enough, like calamus, Shakapushpi is also supportive for speech impediments. So therefore bolstering, the effects, digestive stimulant as well. So here we go, talking about digestive stimulants. We got agwan seeds as our next herb for our churna. Look no further. We got agwan seed. It is a flavor and aroma. These tiny dark seeds are often used in Indian cooking to add some heat and stimulate the Agni, the digestive fire. That's why it's on our list for churna. Right? Especially for this season. But be warned, a little pinch goes a long way. You don't need a lot, just a very little bit. I've also heard of people actually taking a few of these seeds and sucking on these seeds as well. Similar to fennel, but again, you don't need a lot. Also, and so it can help boost Agni fire, but also help to stimulate the appetite. So also agwan seeds are also beneficial for the lungs. You can just imagine a little bit of that heat helps to open up the lungs, the respiratory, the sinuses, serving as a decongestant. There you go. And so yes, again, back to taking a few of the seeds, chewing a pinch of these seeds, potent seeds, along with a pinch of rock salt and even clove. So all three together and sucking on that can help to soothe sore throats, hoarseness, like laryngitis. And yeah, it's very, very good for the sinuses. That's why it's on our Churna list here. So the last one we're going to come to, actually, it's not the last one. It's second to the last. We have cumin, which we talked about cumin the other day. We talked about our CCFT, right? The cumin, coriander, and fennel. So another aromatic seed, and it's good for digestive punch, is cumin, which is like agwan, is also commonly used for cooking spice. I just used cumin tonight. I use cumin a lot in a lot of my dishes. It has a milder flavor than the agwan, so it doesn't kick as much heat in, right? Initially, it has a pungent and bitter taste. And it has more of a cooling energy to it. So not the heating quality that you would get from the agwan seed. So it's counterpart of that. Purifying effect on the body, which is a cooling, purifying effect. And due to its cool energy, cumin stokes the digestive fire without overheating the body. So that's why it's so nice to use when you're doing your Ayurvedic cleanses, whether it be the fall or the spring cleanse. And so it stokes the fire without overheating the body, which would aggravate the pitta dosha, right? So it doesn't do that, as an agwan will do that. So the last one we have, Guduchi, Guduchi. Now this one is last on the list for our Churna, and the reason why it's on the list because it really helps to support our liver. And so it's so important to help to take in supplements that help support the liver. You know, so often we forget to do that. And so traditionally it's used to support healthy immune system as well. And it helps to pacify pitta imbalances, both of which are commonly associated with the liver. So it's also another name for this would be Amrit, meaning nectar, because it has a powerful rejuvenating effect on the liver, the blood, and the immune system. And so that is the ingredients for my Saraswati Churna. And again, this charna is tonifying, clarifying, helps digestively, helps to support the throat, the stomach, respiratory, helps to soothe the nervous system. All important things that are part of the true essence of Maha Saraswati. So that's the charna. And now I'll share with you our tea. And so a tea that I have for you this evening that I just put together is we're going to use mugwort, right? Which is within that woodworm family. So if you think grounding, right? But also helps to support things like, you know, the nervous system, the digestive, a lot of things. So we have our mugwort. We're going to use ashwagandha roots, which was also in our charna. We're going to also use oat straw. Yes, oat straw. And I wrote down a little bit here quickly here, just to give you an idea. Oat straw is believed to offer numerous health benefits, such as reducing the inflammation in your body, improved brain function, and helps with mental emotional. So it helps to stabilize and balance emotion, mood. So oat straw. And then I added peppermint. Because peppermint is so lovely in this time of season, as we're building up a lot of mucus, right? Because of the dryness in the body. So maybe we even have somewhat of a dry cough or a dryness in the throat or chest area. And so this really helps to draw some of that out of our body. And so I really wanted to add a passion fruit to this, but I didn't have passion fruit or passion flower. I'm sorry, not passion fruit, passion flower. So instead, I replaced it with organic red rose buds. So rose, which helps support the heart, the love chakra, right? So, and Saraswati just reminds me of that, you know, those flower essence. So we needed to have a flower essence in our tea there. I would say hibiscus, but I don't know how good that would taste with the peppermint. So we have our tea. We have the mugwort, ashwagandha, peppermint, oat straw, and rose. And that's what we're steeping 15 to 20 minutes in hot to warm water, and then drinking it. So you can add your natural sweetener if you wanted something in that. I actually grow stevia and then crop that, let it dry, crush it into powder, and use that as sweetener for tea. Some people just like nothing, which is fine too. So moving on, it's a few more things. Some gemstones that help to draw in the essence of Maha Saraswati. First on my list, which is one of my favorites, is fluorite. And so fluorite is great for supporting really all aspects of the mind. And so that's why it's so closely related to Saraswati. And so here we have a nice big piece of floor right there. Oh. I see your peeker. Ooh, let me see it. That's great. So yes, when we are chanting to Saraswati, you keep it close by, right? Maybe touch it, keep your hand on it. It's so nice. The energy from fluorite is amazing. One of my favorites, absolutely. I do too. I love fluorite, yes. Some other gems that help to draw the essence of Maha Saraswati would be watermelon tourmaline is a really good one. Pearl is a really good one. Aquamarine, blue calcite, and white coral, actually. So those are all great gemstones that are nice. If you're chanting to Maha Saraswati, you can place them around your altar or have them close by you, and they helped for us to think of her, right? So I also have a mantra with a mudra that I'll share with you for drawing the essence of Maha Saraswati. And when you're chanting to Saraswati, I recommend chanting japa meditation. So using your japa mala. And if you're new to chanting to Maha Saraswati, I recommend, chanting using your japa mala, and every morning 108 times, at least for 21 consecutive days. And so this will really begin to solidify that practice of chanting to Saraswati, especially if you're not used to sitting, for long periods of time, like in meditation or anything like that. So I'm going to share a mudra with you. And a mantra. Mantra is for guidance and to help to bring forth knowledge. And so the mudra we're going to do first, and then we'll add the mantra, is one of a few Saraswati mudras. There's a few of them out there for sure. But the easiest way to create this mudra would be by tucking the pinkies into the palm first, and then using the thumb to hold the pinky down in the palm. And then you take the ring finger and middle finger and cross over the thumbs, tucking them into the palm. And so now you have your pointer fingers both up. So what you do here is you bring the pointer fingers together. So it looks like this, facing you and facing away from you. That's how it looks. And so we hold this mudra towards Vishuddha chakra, so towards the throat, the upper chest space, so at the heart and throat space, or in between. And then you can sit up nice and tall. And so when we experience this mudra, we're experiencing this mudra of inspiration. Words start to flow naturally. An idea of nothing appears. We feel that we express ourselves with power and depth. We feel the ability to create and innovate. Being blessed by Saraswati means having the ability to transform the world through expression. So it's helping all of that. And so coming into the mudra, holding it at the chakra, throat chakra, we'll recite Om Aim Mahasaraswatiye Namah. So it's Om Aim Mahasaraswatiye Namah. 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 And just sitting with that essence. And noticing how you feel. And breathing in and breathing out. Allowing yourself to fully integrate with the breath. Noticing a sense of calmness to the mind. Feeling the essence of Saraswati. You may even feel those vibrations in that throat chakra, heart center area. Just noticing those vibrations, noticing the warmth, the soothing of the tones within your consciousness, within your body. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. And beginning to move in any way that may feel good to you as you slowly begin to open your eyes. You may even notice the vibrations kind of moving around within your physical being, within your energetic being after reciting mantra to Saraswati. I know I always do. And it's nice. It's uplifting. It's so nourishing, and she truly supports that Shakti. Absolutely. The essence of Shakti. So I hope you enjoyed discussing a little bit about drawing the essence of Maha Saraswati. We made a churna. We made a tea. Yep. And thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to always share. Thank you.
That was amazing. I was sitting down on the ground. I have a bunch of puppies that stay downstairs when I'm up for here for Navratri. And one of them is like my little buddy, my shadow. And he gets very, very upset. So I went down there and and it's his bedtime to get him. So he's up here in our bed and he's laying down. But it was wonderful. But yeah, I went to peek into the flora. But that was fantastic, Durga. That was just so wonderful to once again just learn from you all the beautiful herbs and teas and everything that you can use to support your health and how they're related to Devi, and of course crystals as well. So thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you.
So for tomorrow evening, that will be our 9th evening together. The schedule is at 6:30. We're going to have Homa with Devi, 6:50 till 8 o'clock. We're going to have meditation and Satsang with Swaminiji. At 8 o'clock, I'll be doing a discussion on Saraswati and the Divine Mother through the perspective of the arts and how that relates to the water element. And then Sadhviji, we're going to have the recorded session that we are doing early tomorrow morning with Sadhviji at 9 o'clock. So if you're able to join us tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, please do use the same Zoom link and you can join us live for that discussion with Sadhviji. If you're unable to, don't worry, at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, we're going to replay that as well. So thank you, Dima. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much to everyone for being here this evening. I do think we have 2 more nights. I think tomorrow night is the 9th night of Navratri, and then the night after is Duhasra. And so we will gather for that as well, and we'll be doing a panel discussion, as well as some kirtan and the Homa, and so just kind of bringing it full circle, as it were. I'm so grateful to Nina Rao for coming tonight and for sharing her gift of devotion. It is simply exquisite. I'm so grateful to Devi for the beautiful, beautiful ritual that ignites everyone's inner fire and that sets us all with our gaze in the proper direction, as it should be at the beginning of this type of an undertaking. I'm so very grateful to Durga Ma for bringing all of this beautiful wisdom forward and for sharing wisdom about nutrition with everyone so that they know how to use herbs safely with their doctor's permission, of course, and in a way that really supports the tissues and the essence of their bodies and mind. And I'm so grateful to Jyoti Ma for organizing all of this, for all of the wisdom that you bring forward in your sessions, and for all of your kindness and compassion. Truly, this has been an amazing journey because of all of you and because of all of our speakers, in addition to those that are here now. I'm grateful to those who keep coming back every night and who stay with us for 4 hours, just about, I guess it is, right? 3.5, 4 hours, in order to come closer to Ma. And I truly, it is my wish and my hope for each of us that that's what this week does for us, that it brings us closer to her, and that we find the spaces in our life that we have kept away from her, and that we open them up so that we can have an even more full and complete experience of relationship with her. There's not one single place in your life that she doesn't belong. It's not Sundays only. It's not Saturdays only. It's not some holidays. And it's not just Navratri. It's every day and all moments. So I'd like to share with you again the pranama from the Chandipat, bowing down with devotion. The reliever of difficulties, exposer of goodness, cause of peace, infinite consciousness, beloved by knowers of consciousness, she who motivates and guides the 3 worlds, always I bow to her, and I am bowing to goodness herself. Welfare, radiant beauty, completely pure, without limitations, the ultimate limitation, the Lord of the universe, the mother of the universe. To you, Chandi, to the energy that tears apart thought, I bow in submission. She is composed of all the gods, removes all sickness and fear. Brahma, Maheshwara, and Vishnu bow down to her, and I always bow down to the energy of the infinite goodness. The dwelling place of knowledge, residing in knowledge, resident in the place of divine illumination, the cause of union, the knower of union. To that energy that tears apart thought, we constantly bow. The mother of the supreme consciousness, the goddess who is the supreme consciousness, beloved by the supreme consciousness. We always bow to Durga, the reliever of difficulties, who takes aspirants across the difficult sea of objects and their relationships. Drawing the hands together in front of the heart. And together we'll lift our voices in one Om. Take a nice breath in. Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace in the heavens, peace upon the earth, and peace within each of us. May we all live in peace. May Ma bless us in just that way. Thank you all again, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Namaste. Bye.